So she started her research under the assumption that because of this cultural and social stigma about mental health issues in Asian culture, the fact that people in those cultures are so hesitant to reach out for help or to identify that they have a disorder because education culturally is held in such a high regard in those areas, she thought that that stigma and that cultural stigma would be something that impacted the research, that there would be far fewer diagnoses, and that the United States would be the overwhelming area of autism and spectrum diagnoses. When she started pulling her research and looking through her topics, she found the opposite. That's actually that type of research is encouraged because you're proving the opposite of what you originally thought. You're actually learning something and taking a topic that is probably driven by certain assumptions that are similar to the one that you had when you started, and you're actually transforming the topic. And usually those types of projects become more passionate, people become more involved in them. So you're not always going to prove what you think to be the truth in the origin of your research. It's going to change. It doesn't begin with certainty. You begin with a broad topic. It's going to be focused enough for the task at hand, but it's going to be, it's going to be semi-broad. You're going to have some research questions. The art of the research process is that you go out and you pull sources to answer research questions you develop for yourself. You may even change your topic altogether, which is fine. And I already just touched on confirming the opposite. I'm going to have to go back. I was sitting here recording and it cut me off. I don't think it even cut. I don't think it captured the last 20 minutes of what I just did. So this slide here is the general research process. So you start with a research question. You have a problem or something you're interested in researching. It requires a clear articulation of a goal. So what is it you want to know about your topic? How do you want to analyze it? What perspectives do you want to look through when you're trying to better understand the phenomenon or topic? You'll notice that this block relates directly back to that critical analytical framework. The first step is to engage in the macro level of analysis, or go out there and conduct a basic review, a basic background research through the library super search or through Google to understand your topic, where it is in the academic world, what's been done, what's been researched, what conclusions exist. And then you engage in the micro level of research to narrow your topic and create a contextual list, just a document like you did with the first essay, listing all of the variables and all of the subcomponents of the phenomenon or idea you want to research, and then ask yourself, which of these variables, which of these parts of this topic do I want to research? What three ways do I want to look at this topic? You can look at results or implications of a certain something. You can look at causes or origins of certain somethings. It depends on your topic as to how you decide to analyze it, but you're still going to have three main sections, right? So you have to have three ways that you're going to be researching or looking at a certain topic. So we'll define that as we conduct the research. It requires a specific plan for proceeding. So you have to understand that writing is only half of this process. The other half is going out and, developing your topic, narrowing your topic, creating research questions that's going to guide your search. And so the important thing is to just remember that the research questions, finding your sources, developing a schedule, usually what we call research annotations, that's all part of only half of the process. The other half is actually writing. The research is constantly going to be guided by your research questions. That's why they're very important that you develop questions that is really going to help develop or flesh out your topic. And of course, you can't do that successfully if you don't have a topic that's feasible, that's successful enough to be able to pull academic sources, and that's narrow enough for the task at hand. Research requires you to collect and interpret data in an attempt to understand a phenomenon. So what's different about this is you're not just pulling sources into a paper. You're going to have to do a timeout and review the source, take notes about what information you want to use, what information you may want to quote directly, what information falls under which three subsections you want to explore in your research. You also have to review and determine whether or not the source is an appropriate source. And we do that through the appeals, ethos, pathos, and logos. You have to ask yourself, is there enough credibility to this source? Are there enough citations? Is it written well? Is it written by an authoritative, respected professional source? Are there just enough emotional elements to the argument to make it balanced in the appeals? Is it logical? Are there any biases? You have to ask all of these questions when you're choosing your sources for the paper. And so you're crafting your own ethos, pathos, and logos by how you select the sources to make the claims for you in your research, but you're also doing so for yourself in your writing in an assertive, authoritative tone with no personal words, no grammar mistakes, spelling mistakes, etc., no conversational words. And so it's all a process that's hinged on the appeals, ethos, pathos, and logos, and you have to keep those in mind as you continue. Background research. This is very similar to the macro level of analysis and the critical analytical framework. This is your initial background search, looking to understand your topic better, looking to see how feasible your topic is. These bullet points are things to keep in mind when conducting your initial background research. Use keywords or synonyms in an initial search through the Super Search tool. If you are entering a certain word or phrase to find sources and nothing populates, you may have to tweak that. You may have to find other words to describe your topic. You may have to understand jargon words, for instance. If you're looking at something that's really subject specific, you may have to use those specific words. That's what's important about initial research, is being able to find the right words to refer to your topic, to refer things in the correct way. But yeah, you're going to develop keywords that you can use to find your sources. You're going to look at the initial search results and ask yourself, is there enough out there for this topic, or do I need to go back to the topic phase and revise my topic in some way? When you go through all of the articles or the journal articles, you will find that heavily academic work that you will find in academic journals and research will all have abstracts. That's a paragraph at the very beginning or the very top of the source when you access it that summarizes what you're going to find in that source. Oftentimes, when you're looking at abstracts, it will tell you immediately whether or not it's a useful source for your topic. And then finally, is enough information available that's tailored to what you think or how you're going to examine your topic so that you can use it? I want everyone to depart from the summary mind frame of research. Research is not that. You are actually on par with other academics. While you may not have the credentials in your fields and you may not have the experience, you're still a part of that academic conversation now. So moving forward, think about research not as summary, not as a high school concept, but think of it as an academic concept, a professional concept. If you are out in a job, whatever that may be, and you're asked to conduct research on a certain phenomenon in your field, you would follow this process. It's going to look just like this. So it's professional. Treat it as if your paycheck depends upon it. And so the first bullet point, a new way of thinking about research. Research combines existing conversation in a way that enlightens others or poses answers to unanswered questions. You're either going to take an idea that's out there that's been researched somewhat and you're going to extend it. You're going to add to that conversation, or you're going to look at it and answer questions that may not have been posed yet. You're going to change the content, change the direction of the conversation somehow with regards to that topic. It's going to compel the audience to think differently about a situation, research, question, or issue. So it's a different perspective. And it ultimately brings new information or enlightenment to an issue through the research you conduct. Again, you're adding to something or answering questions that have not yet been answered. Research questions. After you have developed a generalized topic, so a generalized area, so causes of COPD or autism diagnosis between two different cultures, those types of topics are considered your research domain, DOMAIN. That is the generalized topic that you're following. Now, your specific topic is going to mirror what you would find in a thesis statement. So I'll throw one out there for an example. There is a large disparity in the autism diagnosis rates between the United States and South Korea due to dietary trends, social stigma, and cultural aspects. That's what a focus topic would look like. And you would notice that it's your claim for your argument in your research paper, but it's also a thesis statement. It's formulated just like a thesis statement, so you could pick it up and use it right in your paper. It tells you the 3 concepts you're going to be exploring. So after you have that topic, after you've conducted some initial background research, after you put together a contextual list to look at the different parts you want to observe, the next step is to narrow that topic. So after you have a topic that's narrow enough, then you're going to develop research questions. And these are the questions that are going to ask what you want to know about that topic or what you want to find out. This is a copy. Let me see here. So those research questions will be open-ended questions. They're not going to be yes or no questions. They're going to be questions that through your research and through pulling sources, you will be able to answer. What's the point? If small ideas lead to tremendous impacts in life, then research is crucial. It's like, for instance, COVID vaccinations. If we hadn't had the years and decades of specialized epidemiology and vaccination-based research, there would have not been they would have not been capable to put together such an expedited vaccination for the COVID vaccine. And so this is the point of this research. In our fields, we use this research for real life impacts. And if we don't share the information, and if we don't continue to try to understand concepts and ideas, the conversation remains stagnant and there's no advancing in our fields. The entire point of research is to continue learning more about our field so we become more specialized, we can have more an impact in what we do, and that we know more. We understand more about our field, our specialty, and the world around us. So the goals: set out to answer unanswered questions, set out to explore uncharted territory, set out to explore unclear ideas, set out to create a bearing for future research, and then set out to extend parameters or ideas of research that's already been conducted. One major aspect of research is daring to disagree. All academic writing is, as I've mentioned a myriad times at this point, all academic writing is an argument. Usually complex ideas are presented and topics are typically divided. They're complex, multifaceted, dynamic types of situations that normally will invoke our values and who we are. And either people share values or they don't. So people will often disagree. You will also find that certain disciplines disagree with one another on different aspects of topics. The idea is to embrace that disagreement. Through that disagreement and through working through rebuttals and opposing viewpoints, we can then extend our research to answer those rebuttals to learn more so that we can still advance the topic. Disagreeing with one another sparks us to explore areas of research, to test validity of current findings. So when you go out there and you find sources that already exist, if you disagree, it's going to impel you to go look at those sources, the primary sources, the secondary sources, and really ask yourself, are these accurate sources? Are the conclusions that the oppositional viewpoint are making, are these valid? Are they logical? It prompts you to be more of an academic and to investigate more into different viewpoints. It also helps to extrapolate the findings to different areas of the research discussion. So making other connections, connecting other items in your research topic. It also helps to isolate variables and controls. And so this is more of an actual original study type of bullet point here, where you have variables in a research study. You're not going to be doing that, but if you were to do that, it helps you hone in on certain items that you can try to control in some way to see if there's an impact. Ultimately, you're in a search for true knowledge. All of this culminates in complex academic conversation, which is always ongoing. It's ongoing academic conversation and dialogue regarding a topic, oftentimes with oppositional viewpoints. Professors, when you get to the point of being a professor, if you so choose that route, part of their pay and their annual review is based on how much research they are conducting in their field. How much are they having an impact on their specialty within their field and taking their ideas and their research experience and furthering the field in some kind of way. That's where we get our research studies. That's where we get our bulk of knowledge. And so that is what you are doing now. You are conducting research and you're part of this ongoing academic conversation, whether you're reviewing sources, writing research papers, or eventually publishing research papers.